Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to a Monday. Today we're going to be talking breast cancer because it is October Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and a new piece of information came out concerning mammography. Again, the idea of maybe we should start mammography at an earlier age. We'll talk about that, the rates of mammography, the rates of breast cancer, and much more. We'll get started here in 1 minute. The information you hear on the Nutrition Shop Health Talk with Dr. Lynn is strictly educational. It's not intended to diagnose or treat any disease. Any healthcare decision should be discussed with your health professional. And now, here is Dr. Lynn. And Dr. Lynn introducing Dr. Lynn. We're going to get that changed one of these days, but as always, we're going to talk about starting mammography. Georgetown University School of Medicine says starting mammography at age 40 would reduce disparities in deaths for black women. Did that catch your attention at all here in Breast Cancer Awareness Month? Is that the solution? Why don't you think about that for a minute as we do our national anthem. And again, good afternoon to you all. The numbers to reach us at our office today, 678-228-8900, 678-228-8900. Questions, comments? You can also reach me through our website at thenutritionshop, shoppe.net. Any questions you have, any comments you have, could be taken there. Now, let me say this. Over the past 30 plus years that I've been doing this, we've had numerous discussions on mammography. Part of the problem with mammography, the newer forms of mammography, the dual view, the potential quote-unquote risk factors of mammography. And again, whatever I say today, please don't factor that into making a decision about whether you're going to have a mammogram or not. The radiation risks that are involved with mammography are obviously there. They have the potential to be great. Those that have mammography on a regular basis, year after year, seem to have higher rates of breast cancer. The medicine world would tell you that's because we did the mammography, we managed to catch it. So they don't want to ever say that mammography in any way was linked to breast cancer, obviously. We also worked in the world of thermography, heat sensing. I still feel it's a much better alternative. There's no pressure, there's no radiation, and in my humble opinion, it's a much thorough look and can be much more predictive of potential problems coming down the road. Now, again, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. There are numerous pink ribbon events taking place, 5Ks, walks, runs, etc., all trying to raise funding for breast cancer awareness. My biggest problem is, one of the major sponsors of this is McDonald's. Now, for us in the world of nutrition and health, we strongly believe that part of the issue with breast cancer is diet. Diet, diet, diet. So I'm going to take this little piece from Georgetown University apart. I'm going to read it to you. It says this: if black women, here we go, we're going to get a little disparity here. We're going to be sort of kind of racist here, because we're going to drive this into the fact that we're going to look at it from a black perspective again. If black women began mammography screening every other year starting at age 40, breast cancer deaths could be reduced by 57% compared to starting screening 10 years later. What are they basing that on? This is part of a modeling team, an extrapolation of numbers from the Cancer Intervention and Surveillance Modeling Network by the National Cancer Institute. In other words, the rare times that there's been the occasions of doing mammography for a 40-year-old, and I want you to think about that up to this point. You try to get your insurance carrier to cover a mammography at age 41. Try. Unless there is a predisposing factor. Unless there is a predisposing factor. The analysis, or the first to use, and keep in mind this is not a complete statistical data, it's an analysis, was the first to use modeling to elucidate modern breast cancer screening strategies that best achieve equity in screening outcomes and reduce racial disparities. You know, I don't mind studies, I really don't. And I understand that rates are much higher in the African American community. I understand that. But why can't we just do a study that says, let's take a look, would this make a difference in screening techniques in females? Period. Period. The research published October 19th in the Annals of Internal Medicine suggested a reduction in breast cancer deaths can be achieved for black women while maintaining the same ratio of benefits to harms. The ratio of benefits to harms that occur when white women undergo biennial screening starting at age 50. So, we're going to say white women don't need to do this, but black women do. Recommendations over the past 2 decades have not accounted for the role of racism, structural racism, interpersonal racism, or internalized racism, or its impact in breast cancer treatment, length of survival, and deaths among black females. There is an increasing focus on eliminating race-based medicine. I have a real problem with this. Explains study lead author Christina Hunter Chapman, adjunct professor, Department of Radiation Oncology. However, call to end race-based medicine that asks for immediate cessation of any discussion on race are not likely to eliminate racial disparities. Carefully selected solutions for health inequity may involve tailoring interventions to specific racial groups. Okay. So, what we're saying here is African American females have a higher risk ratio than anybody else. Right? That's what this is saying. And we need to do something here in this country to end racism in the field of medicine. Right? And I ask you the question again. I don't care if you're black, white, purple, green, or blended. Try to get your insurance carriers to approve mammography as a preemptive view at age 40. Try. Okay, you're going to say, well, that's what this article is trying to do. It's trying to force the insurance carriers to do that. Is there a rate ratio that works? Incident rates of breast cancer. Because this article is telling me it's in your genes. you're African American, you have a higher rate. Incident rates of African Americans in Africa are below 35 per 100,000 women. Below 35. So if it's in your genes, should that not be the same rate here in this country? The rates for African American women in this country are 128 per 100,000. 35 versus 128. Almost 4 times higher. So I ask you the question, why? What made it different? Because obviously just looking at data like that, now I don't have anything definitive there that says it's really not a genetic link. Sure doesn't look like it. 35, 128. How about if we look at rates overall here in the United States? 35 to 128 to every other female in the United States at 113.2. Plus or minus almost the same. So, what do we say? It's really not in your genes. What is it into then? Because these articles go after this entirely to say we are racist in the field of medicine. We do not give African American women that needs and the testing that they need. But I ask the question, if it's not the fact that they're African American, it's not in their genetic makeup, what the heck is it? For black women, 3 biennial screening strategies beginning at age 40, 45, and 50 yielded benefit to harm ratios that were greater than or equal to those seen in white women who started screening at age 50. So that leveled the playing field. But does it level the playing field? If I ask you specifically, what made anyone that's African American living here in the United States have a higher rate of breast cancer, nearly 4 times higher than those living in the continent of Africa? Why? Can I spell this out? You want it spelled out? It's called diet. It's called diet. It's called nutrition. It's called accounting for what you put into your body each and every day that can make the biggest difference. And I'm going to say this, there is not much of a racial disparity at all between African American women and white women. The rates, right there, just about the same. Now, I didn't do the study to go back and say, like, okay, if you're of Italian descent, are rates lower in Italy? Probably. Are they lower in France? Probably. Are they lower in Germany? Probably. Because we really don't watch what we do here in this country as far as diet and nutrition goes. We're the most obese country in the world. And I will tell you that obesity by its very nature will cause hormone disruption because visceral fat becomes a hormone excretor. Black women have a higher rate of aggressive cancers at a younger age than white women, and treatments for these types of tumors are not even effective. However, when we account for cancer subtypes, mortality is higher for black women, largely due to factors that are, I want you to fill in the blanks for me. When we account for cancer subtypes, mortality is higher for black women, largely due, fill in the blanks, largely due to weight, exercise, demographics, fill in the blanks. Because this article needs to be trashed. Even when we account for cancer subtypes, mortality is higher for black women, largely due to factors that are ultimately rooted in racism. said the study's senior author. It's racism. Everything in this country is racism. And we try to drag it into the field of medicine on a continuum. Take accounting of your own life. Look at the risk factors. Study. Read. Georgetown University should be ashamed of themselves for coming up with this. But I guarantee you, you will hear this on CNN this weekend. Is mammography going to change the world for the black population? If somehow, some way, we manage to get insurance carriers to start covering mammography at age 40, could we get the population to go have a mammogram? Because the data that I don't have is, what are the rates of mammography for anybody that's a female African American? What percentage of the population of females over the age of 40 are actually getting a mammography screening? It's disheartening being part of the medical world when you hear garbage like this. My tip, my advice to you, if you're African American, is take a deep look at your diet, your nutrition, your exercise, your weight, the medications you're on, etc., etc., etc. Are you on any hormone disruptors? Are you overweight? Are you doing something to improve your health in general? Because obviously, just being African American does not give you the genetic makeup that's going to make you at a higher risk. Obviously, when you look at the continent of Africa, the rates are one of the lowest in the world. Sorry, I get fired up. But anyway, you want help? You want to get a protocol put together? Call our office and set up a time, 678-228-8900. I can't call the line for you. You have to, if you heard this and you were shared this podcast today and it struck a nerve with you, maybe you disagree with me. Give me a call. I'll talk to you. 678-228-8900. The website is thenutritionshop.net. God bless you folks, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. Take care.